Alright, I'm going to start out explaining the machine. So, first we're going to check that we have some water. I just filled it up. You should be fine. Then we got the temperature gauge. I have it set to the correct temperature on here, so you shouldn't have to mess with that. It will also display the time when you start pulling your shot. You can mostly ignore that because we're going to use the scale over there to do that. The buttons on the top. This is a pre-configured single shot, double shot, and this is so you can like freely pull your shot. We're mostly going to use this one because we're using the scale and that helps us get it where we want to be. And then right here, this is for the steam wand. I can show you how to use the steam wand here in a second. This is our pressure gauge. We're mostly going to try and work into the 9 bar. The beans that we got, these, I find that they pull, I think they taste best at like 8, but 9 is fine. Now we got our tools. I'm going to do my best to organize them a little bit more. Might take some of them out for you, but there's only 3 tools that we're mostly going to use. We're going to use the WDT tool to break up the clumps and everything. We got our mister. And then we got our brush. You're able to brush off the portafilter pretty easily on the sides because you don't want the grinds to get into the group head on the machine. Now that's those tools, and then we have our actual filters. They're not necessary, however they help to keep the machine clean and they keep the pucks dry to where I can pop them out and they just become those little chips. Make sure to try one if you want a snack. Next we got our puck prep tools. This is the leveler. I haven't really dialed this in to where I like it as much, particularly with this collar. You'll see in a little bit why I say that. And then obviously our self-leveling tamper. It's already got the spring that you would need in it, and it's pretty easy to use. Then we got our scale, our little bean dosing cup. I already pointed out the collar, and then we have our actual grinder. I have it set to a 9i for these beans here. I don't think you should have to mess with it, but if you want to experiment with it, that's fine. Right now we're actually going to work on pulling this shot. So we're going to start off with dosing out 19 grams of beans. Now 19 is about the weight that I found works best for this roast. Don't be afraid to go 0.1 gram above or 0.1 gram below. That doesn't particularly yield any difference there. Then we're going to grab the little mister. I usually hit it with 3 little mist. And then we cup our hand over the top and then shake it up. Now we're going to put the beans into the grinder. Going to go ahead and grab the portafilter. If you end up running it first to clean it off, make sure you wipe it off You got this rag over here. You can use it for most cleaning purposes in this area. Alright, now we grab the collar, just snap that on. It's just magnetic. Right on there. You have to gently put it in there so it doesn't knock off the collar. So you should be able to see there is a little arm in there that holds this down, so you don't have to hold this on there. But just gently put that on and you should be fine. Just take the top off, grab the beans. I typically put them in on the side, because if you just dump them over the top, they get stuck in this little spot right here, and then you have to push them all in. And that's a little annoying. I was just using it, so it was already on, but just hitting a button will turn it on. We're going to use the third setting here. That should be about 15 seconds. And we'll let that run all the way through, and then at the end we'll run it again for a couple more seconds, and that's just to get the rest of the grounds through. Then we come over here to the 1, and it should run it for another 5 seconds. Perfect. Now we're going to go ahead and start tamping this. So when you grab it, just lift up the back of the portafilter a little bit, and you should be able to just slide it right out. Now it's going to be stuck on the collar a little bit, but we can use the WD-T tool to get all of that out. So I typically take it around the side just a little bit. Let me make sure you can see that. Just take it around the side just a little bit, just to knock it off. And then when you go to actually do the motion, so you're just doing tiny circular motions in a circle. So you're just going to go around and then working your way in. Almost like a pour over spiral, but you're just adding little tiny circles as you go around. So let's start off. Get all the way around. Start working your way in. I typically will go around one more time, particularly if I see any other clumps. Okay, you should be good here. And then here's for the more controversial part, tapping it down. I like to tap it down twice. I had heard that it's a no-no. However, when I was in Paris working, I sat with an actual barista, and they do competitive coffee making, and he explained that this is fine as long as you're not pounding it down and like slamming it against the side. You should be fine. So we're just going to do 2 light taps on the ground, and that just, as you can see, kind of knocked off the rest on the collar, and it got everything kind of together. We'll put it in this holding spot for the next part here. Now this is the part that I haven't really dialed in my workflow here. However, I'm just going to show you what I've been doing. So I'm going to take the calibrated tamper and just push it down a little bit, and all I'm doing is getting the grinds down past the collar so I don't make as much of a mess. You're not supposed to drop this. Now that we got the grinds down past the collar, we'll put the collar back on the grinder, and then we'll take the leveler here And we'll throw that on and just spin it around. It helps, it's supposed to help level it out, but again, I haven't really dialed it in to where I love the result. I think it can be dialed in a little bit more, but for now it's fine. Now we're actually going to tamp it down. So you just put it in, push down, and push down again if you so choose. Should come out clean. Here's the result. You can kind of see the little grooves that are in there. And then we're going to take our little filters here. I like these because they're the most reusable, and I can just kind of rinse them off and then wipe them down. However, I think the best result is from these little mesh filters, but they're a little annoying to wash because little grinds get stuck in there, and then you gotta rinse it out, and it kind of gets cleaned pretty well with the steam wand if you so choose to use that. But we're just going to use one of these for now. Drop it in, try and drop it in a little level. Alright, and I'll just kind of tap it a little bit just to make sure it's staying in place. Looks good. If there's a little bit of grinds around the side, just kind of lightly blow the top of it, and it should get rid of those little grinds. Now we're going to throw the portafilter in the machine. What we're going to do is put our arm over the top here and put the actual filter to the side. Now there's little grooves in this, and we're just trying to get these little ears to catch the grooves on the bottom of the filter. So pop it in there, you'll find the little spot, and you'll slowly twist it over. And then we're going to go to about, I don't want to call it like 90 degrees. However, it's just short of 90 degrees. So we're right in there. So it's not perfectly parallel here, but just off. Now we're going to go ahead and throw the scale down on the bottom. Turn it on, but just to turn it on, you hit this right side of the scale. Throw our cup on there. And then it will zero again when we hit the timer function. Again, we're going to use the manual button here. So you'll see that, this third button. You should be able to have a good angle of the pour here. So again, just hit that little clock button and it will zero out, and it will also be your timer. Starting off pretty good. So it starts the timer as soon as the shot hits, and we're looking for about 48 to 45 grams. Let it sit for a second and let it drip out. Now this shot was a little fast, but it wasn't too fast. Here's our foam. Looking pretty good. Tastes good too. Now for the cleanup, you just grab the portafilter and you put your hand over the top again, just twist it off to the side. Looking pretty good. This is what I mean by it's not really messy. It has a little bit of grinds right there, but it didn't really get on the head itself, the group head itself. Got our little tamp box. And grab the filter, set the scale off to the side, and you can throw it in the bottom and just run it manually for a couple seconds. This kind of rinses off the grinds from it, and then you'll be able to just pick it up in a second when it cools off and just wipe it off with the rag. All clean. Throw it back in the filter spot. Now for the actual portafilter, do the same thing. Just rinse it off with the hot water and dry it off. Now I want to clean the group head here, so double up the rag. If you just do one side, it's probably going to burn you. And you just wipe off the underside here. Wipes off the water, and if there's any coffee grounds that are on there, we just wiped it off and helps keep the machine clean. Now we're going to work on frothing the milk. So we go ahead and throw the portafilter back in, and go ahead and hit this button. Now you're going to have to wait a couple seconds for it to warm up all the way, but in the meantime we'll go ahead and explain everything. The lever here is for actually starting the steam wand, and you got the steam wand down here. You can adjust it here to any angle that you feel is necessary, but we'll work on getting the angle dialed in when we have the cup. Alright, you'll know the steam wand is ready when it stops blinking up top, and then now we need to clear it. So you can bend it off to the side, and I'll take the rag and just keep it from blasting out water to the side. Pull down the lever to start it, and you should be cleared. Gets all the room temperature water out of the wand, and now you're only going to be working with steam. Wipe off the wand if you feel like, and now we're going to grab our milk. I went ahead and poured about 10 ounces of the lactose-free milk. The lactose-free milk is nice because it has the perception of being sweeter, even though it doesn't have any sugar in it. Now for the frothing angle, we have the wand just sticking out directly the best we can, and then when it comes to putting it into the milk, we're just going to submerge it here, and as we're going, we're just going to barely have it to where it makes a hissing noise. So we're off to the side and then angled to where it's making a hissing noise, and we want micro bubbles, like the microphone. And then we're just incorporating that, and then you're going to go until the cup itself is about body temperature. So when you feel that the cup and the milk in there is about to your temperature, and then from that point we're just going to not fully, but we're going to go down deeper to where this whole head part is submerged, and we're going to let it swirl to incorporate all those bubbles into the rest of the milk. And then we're going to go until, I guess the best measure is go until it's a little too hot for you to hold, and then that's your stopping point. So let's get started. So again, barely submerge it. You can submerge it a little bit more to get started so you don't end up blasting yourself with all kinds of milk. So I'm gonna go ahead, pull it. And then we don't want to get this little hissing sound. Started off with too big of bubbles. We're getting the microphone here now. And then as it expands, you want to just move the cup down slightly to keep that little hissing noise going. It's getting to about my hand's temperature now. I want this one to be a little bit more foamy, so I'm letting it go for a second longer. Alright, now we're going to submerge, let all that incorporate. It's getting to the point now where it's a little bit hotter than I would like it to be in my hand. So now we're good. Just going to push the lever back. As you can see, we started off with 10 ounces. Now we're well past that. Alright, to clean the wand off, we're just going to grab our towel, go ahead and wipe off what you can, and you're going to wrap the towel around, and obviously make sure your hand isn't down here at the bottom. Just grab it here, pull the lever, and you just kind of, you're stroking the wand, and clean that off. Now that the rag's all steamy, you can wipe it off. All clean, and just tug it back away and flip the switch to turn it off. Switch is here. Now for the latte art, not really good at it, but we're going to give it an attempt. Tip it off to the side. We're going to donate some to the shot. That's just to make sure it incorporates better. Swirl it around. I'm going to attempt a heart, but we'll see how that goes. Wait until the foam shows up on the top, get it wide, and then push off. That is not a heart, but it will still taste good. There you go. Now, alternatively to the standard latte that we just made, we can also make a vanilla iced latte. And it'll probably be the best vanilla iced latte you'll ever have. So this is some homemade syrup, especially made from Cassandra. So we're just going to add about a tablespoon to another 10 ounces of milk. Got that added in. Go ahead and put our double shot into the cup. Off to the side, and then we're just going to use the hand frother to get it all foamed up. Get it stirred up first, and then we're going to work our way up to the top to where we're aerating it, incorporating some foam in there. You can see it's starting to expand. Work your way down to bring those bubbles into the rest of the drink. Don't want to go for too long here, but when it becomes kind of this smooth texture, as you can see, it's starting to get real smooth, real frothy, should be good. Gonna let it run at the bottom a little bit, let those big bubbles get mixed in. It should be good. Grab a glass of ice, and optionally a straw. Even got a little bit of foam left over. Right on the top. We're at the maximum capacity of this glass. Let's see if I can put this in without spilling it. There you go.